KFAN.com/watch. You can watch the Power Trip weekdays at 8. Brought to you by Quantum Fiber, KFAN.com/watch. And hey, guess what?
What?
It is a Wild Wednesday here on The Fan, sponsored by Jim Beam, the official bourbon of the Minnesota Wild. And we want to send you to the game. Caller 11 will win a pair of tickets to the Wild take on the Dallas Stars on January 8th. Call 1-800-320-5326 right now.
That's Zacho. We got Mark Parrish, Mark Rosen over there, and our new friend Allie Rae at onlyallierae.com. That's ALLIERAE in studio with us. And Allie, I know you're a big old Gopher football fan. Just got this news. Tyler Nubin named first team All-American.
Oh,
how about that?
Gopher Sporting News. That's great.
Good for him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for him, man.
He will be in the NFL next year.
He will.
Hopefully a Minnesota Viking.
That'd be great.
That would be nice. After they missed on Antoine Winfield Jr.
Correct.
Correct.
Is he good?
Yeah, he's pretty good. His dad was good, too.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. Again, Allie Rae in studio, and we're getting to know you a little bit more, and we'll get into sports in just a second, and we've got a lot going on in sports, as a matter of fact, but I know you're a Golden Gopher fan. You're a Viking fan as well, is that right?
I am. Yeah. I'm a Viking fan. Go for hockey, go for football. Love Minnesota sports.
Yeah. And by the way, you said you worked in the NICU down at the U. Man, that must have been an intense job.
It was. I was really, it was my passion though. I could say that with confidence. I was an amazing nurse. Like, it was a big loss because I really had a way of connecting, not only as a mother, but as a nurse and educated and advocating for them. And I just was meant to do that. And I knew that. I felt always so comfortable. And parents to this day, I still talk to so many of them.
How long you been in Tampa?
3 years.
You got a real Southern accent going on.
Well, I'm from Houston, Texas.
That's what I was going to say. It sounded
yeah.
Texas.
Okay,
Another town I've been to, Dallas. Yeah, it sounded familiar.
Yeah, he played there, too.
Not very long. Not long, no.
Yeah, no, that was where I was born and raised. I left Houston at 17. I went into the Navy. And so, believe it or not, my first duty station was Minnesota. And I remember thinking, what in the heck is the Navy doing up in Minnesota? And I actually trained reservists here. I was a trainer. So that's how I ultimately became a Minnesotan. So when I say Minnesota feels like home, it's because I've pretty much spent my whole adult life here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. What a life. Holy moly.
Yeah.
Rosie, did I interrupt you? I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, do you miss, you poured so much into becoming a neonatal nurse, and you're so attached to, I'm sure, the parents at times and the job at hand. I mean, the money is the money. We've talked about that.
Right.
But do you miss the passion that you put into that job and then miss the job at all?
Oh, yeah, man, 100%. And especially everything happened, the amount of sadness. And to this day, I wish I could volunteer on a NICU unit as a cuddler or just to go and provide expertise. I still, like I said, I do have my PhD. I could educate. It's just, they probably wouldn't take me. And that's the sad part, is the story was so publicly known, and then my face with it, as soon as they found out who I was or, what I was doing, I feel like I would probably not have that opportunity. But absolutely, from a volunteer standpoint, I would love to do something back with that, because it truly, I miss it a lot. I really do. I miss the purpose. I think that's the thing, having a purpose. And not that there's not a purpose with what I'm doing now, but this is more fun, lighthearted versus, doing something that,
Man, having a purpose is so, Rosie, this is something that we've talked about often, right? A purpose in life that matters so much, man. I hear where you're coming from there. You're an advocate for the community that you live in, though. And I find that really interesting, because there are, I'm going to guess, a bunch of people who do what you do who aren't willing to go out and go on Dr. Phil, who aren't willing to go on aren't willing to go on the Power Trip Morning Show and say, hey, I lived here, I did this is who I am, and I'm not ashamed of it. I think that's fascinating. I think it's great.
Thank you. And I think that was the only way I could respond. My story, and I had so many people, half of them people were against me, I'm a terrible mother, I'm a terrible person, but yet 2 days ago, I was the Navy vet, NICU nurse, wife of 23 years, who was the most respected person in the room to so least respected. So I think the only way for me to combat that was to come out and just be like, this is what it is. Everyone has their own life. I'm doing what I'm doing.
Do you get more pushback from women generally, or is it?
Surprisingly, it's men.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What?
There's a lot of men that are just very, usually if there's any hate comments, it's from men. It's the women are usually like, you go, girl.
Oh.
Huh.
Yeah.
We're not going to get that from anybody in this room.
Except
I'm going to tell you right now, we are on your side.
Team Allie Rae.
Yeah, look at Max. He's got a sign. He already made a sign.
Max is just here to cheer.
And you know what? I thought it was so cute watching you and Rosie in there, and we were all monitoring, by the way. It was just the two of you during the break in there. You guys having a great little conversation in there.
We did.
He wants to mentor you, is what he's saying. He's already saying.
I think she's just fine on her own.
Let's hit some sports real quick, and then we'll come back. And I don't even know how we'll talk about it, but there's some things you've mentioned that people ask you to do on your OnlyFans page that I got to find a way to ask you about. So we'll do that after the break.
Only you can do that, Christopher.
I'll find a way into it.
Find a way out.
It's fascinating and horrifying at the same time.
It's time for Fan 5, brought to you by Builders and Remodelers.
Allie, feel free to jump in at any point.
Rosie, yesterday the Vikings said they made a quarterback change. Nick Mullins is now the quarterback. He will replace Josh Dobbs as the starter this Saturday in Cincy. That game is at noon. Pregame is at 10 right here on the Fan. There, of course, will follow with Fan Line and overtime. The Vikings are plus 3.5. The over-under is 39.5. There are 3 games that Saturday, and it all kicks off with the Bengals hosting the Vikings.
Yeah, I think lost in the entire conversation about the Dobbs situation and what happened after Kirk's injury was that Nick Mullins was the guy. He was the heir apparent. He was the backup. He was QB number 2. There's a reason why the Vikings brought him in here to be Sean Mannion's replacement. And in case a very durable Kirk Cousins got hurt, which unfortunately he did, Mullins was going to slip right into it. Well, somehow we didn't even know it because he hurt his back in practice, I assume. He wasn't playing in the game.
Right. Yeah, no, that's right.
So, I mean, it was a serious enough back injury to put him on IR, and he was gone for weeks. So the Vikings had to basically push the panic button. They had Hall, the rookie, and then they had to bring in Dobbs. So, I mean, they had to make it up on as they go. And look, kudos to Josh Dobbs.
Yeah,
I mean, for what he did under the circumstances, not the answer for the long haul, not the answer for the rest of this season, but he did, for the most part, what he was supposed to do and then some. And now it's up to Mullins to lead him to the playoffs. I mean, this is what he is there for. Quarterback number 2. We watched what happened with Tommy DeVito in New York. Rookie quarterbacks, undrafted quarterbacks, guys coming off the shelf. With the guy they're facing this week, who was a former Viking, Browning.
Jake Browning,
never played a down for the Vikings in the regular season, but he is kind of taken off and helping the Bengals not forget about, but at least move forward without Joe Burrow. So there are comparisons to be made, but it's Mullins' time right now to prove that he's played in the league for quite a while. So that's all I can.
They did a walkthrough yesterday. Justin Jefferson participated on a limited basis. Alexander Madison and right tackle Brian O'Neill were both out with ankle injuries.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
But the Bengals injury report had Jake Browning was a full participant with that hand
forearm or whatever.
But Jamar Chase was out of practice yesterday, so that's something to watch going forward.
Yeah, I assume he'll play. Those I mean, JJ and Jamar, of course, are real tight, and they'll be. They're not facing each other, but they definitely want to show off in front of each other on Saturday afternoon. So it's just great news for JJ because when we all saw that hit, I thought he's done. I mean, it's a kidney laceration.
I was thinking like a rip. I mean, because it just where he hit right there.
Exposed area, nothing you can do. He's stretching his arms way up, and man.
Allie, if I'm not incorrect, did you go to the Charlotte game?
I did. I got our first win.
Yeah. How great was that game, and how many Purple fans were in that stadium? That we were all, Saucy and I were there as well.
Yeah,
Wasn't that great?
Oh, yeah, no, it was great. The weather was beautiful. It was a great stay in the atmosphere. There was some great tailgating out. It was really fun. There was a lot of Purple there. There was a local bar that was very close to the stadium, and I was like, this is all Purple. This is amazing. So it was a lot of fun.
Weird to see Adam Thielen in that jersey, though.
That was.
Yeah.
Week 15 starts at the Chargers at the Raiders. Speaking of backup quarterbacks, the Raiders and Chargers will both be starting backups because Justin Herbert will undergo surgery today to repair a fracture in his right index finger. That's his throwing hand. He will be put on injured reserve.
That's a quirky team. We saw them, and I still can't. We bemoan the fact that the Vikings lost to that team here.
Unbelievable.
Those games, the Vikings should have had. I mean, basically, almost had a playoff spot clinched by now. the Chargers game, the Tampa Bay game, the Bears game. I mean, those are just three.
The Bears game's the worst.
The Bears is the worst.
That was so painful.
That's the irony of it. Losing JJ for 7 weeks, losing Cousins for the rest of the year, and they still should have at least 3 more wins.
Yeah.
Self-inflicted wounds with all the turnovers, but hey, you're still in a good position. You got to keep moving on.
One more football bit, Rosie. This was from sources yesterday. Legendary broadcaster Al Michaels is out for NBC's NFL playoff coverage in a move he wasn't expecting, according to people.
I wasn't aware that he was still associated with NBC.
I think for the playoffs,
football,
I think for the playoffs they've used him in the past.
He's butted heads with management over there, and I think Al Michaels is in a position where he can probably ask for and thinking he's going to be able to get whatever he wants to do, and it's kind of coming to the. He does a Thursday night bit with Curb Street.
Yeah.
But there was definitely some friction going on in the front offices over at NBC.
Yeah. It's a weird situation.
It is.
How about this, Rose? After nearly a half century as member of the Minnesota Golden Gophers, head coach of the baseball team, John Anderson, has announced that he will retire at the conclusion of this season. He's the longest tenured coach in Gopher history.
Astonishing run for John Anderson. I remember when he took over his predecessor, Dick Siebert, the chief. Speaking of the chief, they called him the chief for many years. He was the man. Dave Winfield played for him. Paul Molitor played for him. Just a bevy of future stars. John Anderson took over and never looked back, and has had some phenomenal players and teams, and handled himself with class, and deserves to go out the way he wants to go out. So kudos to John, and I think everyone should support, hopefully, his last year here with the University of Minnesota. He's just a class act all the way around.
Yep. Perry the Wild hosts the Flames tomorrow at the XL Energy Center. That game can be heard right here on The Fan.
Yeah, they're nice to get a couple of days off, especially for Coach Hines. When you come in and you get right in the middle of the season, it's not like he's been able to make a whole lot of changes. He hasn't got to work with the team on the ice, and now we can finally get a streak here where they got a few days. They can practice a little bit. He can kind of get in there and get his hands on a little bit. Not that there's a ton to change, and not that he's going to change a ton. But yeah, no, it's going to be a fun rest of the season here. This team has figured it out. They found their identity again, and most importantly, they found their confidence again. Especially watching that young Matt Boldy is absolutely flying right now. And I know we're still kind of waiting for Kaprizov to wake up, but he's still sitting around like a point a game and struggling, for crying out loud. That's amazing to me.
Brodin supposed to be out.
He's dead. We don't know.
No.
He died.
We don't know. I know it's an upper body, which was strange. Yeah, because the way it looked
he got hit like Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, and the way he was going off the ice, it sure seemed like it was his lower body. But I guess he got some kind of bruise on the lower body. It's somewhere in the upper body that is bugging him, and we have not heard yet how long he will be out. And usually that is not a good sign.
Yeah.
Guess who was just named NFC Offensive Player of the Week?
Well, must be someone.
Hey, it's Mark Rosen.
Hey, Mark Rosen. Hey. Well done, Rose.
2 New York guys. AFC, Zach Wilson. Zach guy.
And Danny DeVito.
And Tommy DeVito was named NFC Offensive Player of the Week.
Well, he should have been.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, lives his mom and dad's house, and that whole story. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Good for him.
Maxo, the Wolves battle the Mavs tomorrow in Dallas.
His offense against that game in the Pelicans.
Yeah.
And his defense, and it's an incredible defender. And the Mavericks team, that's a really good team, man. They just outdueled the Lakers last night. Rosie was super pumped about it.
Yeah, I was. I was super pumped watching Draymond Green punch out another guy and get thrown out of the game.
Mean, he's auditioning for his next career as a WWE wrestler at this point. I mean, just throw him into the Royal Rumble in January.
Whenever he's done playing, he just punches someone.
And then he gets the night off. Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah,
brother, you can't make that motion on accident. Unless you're a wacky waving inflatable arm tube, man, humans don't move like that on accident.
Do it.
Rose.
Do it.
Maxwell, I got you there too. The Gophers crushed IUPUI yesterday in basketball, 101-65. The Golden Gophers are 8-3.
Nobody's ever heard. They're playing a bunch of teams that nobody's ever heard of before. The San Francisco Papas or whatever they were called, and then the ICUP, whatever. But good for them. They've been stringing together a couple wins, and they're beating the teams that they're supposed to beat. So
that kid had 17 assists last night.
Yeah, he looked good. They got some talent on that team, and we're all rooting for Ben Johnson, man. He's such a good dude.
Can I come over and watch?
Rose.
He wants to come over and watch it with you.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, there's tickets to go see it at the barn, but
they're off until next week when they battle Ball State.
Muncie, Indiana. It's where David Letterman went to college.
That's right.
That's right down the road from where I grew up.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like they should be better at basketball if their name is Ball State.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, maybe
it's so weird that you know exactly where that is. How far is Muncie, Indiana from where you grew up?
25 minutes at the most.
How far is it from where Jim Jones grew up?
A little less than that. I know.
And Larry Bird.
Yeah, he's a little
Larry
farther
Bird,
away,
David Letterman, and Jim Jones all grew up in Indiana.
Oh,
Rose, it's not that bad. That's about all I got.
Okay, good, because we can break and come back and keep talking to our friend Allie Rae. As you can see, Allie, we're just silly, and
I love it.
We use the button bar. Rosie, even when Rosie's not here, he's still here because he says things like this.
Can I come over and watch?
He also
that's the Rosie they warned me about.
That's exactly. Yep. Yeah, and one of the things I should have used earlier, and I forgot about this button bar when we were talking about your former career, Allie. We should have used this.
I love hanging out in the maternity ward.
Context. You got a lot of buttons.
Please, context.
Allie, that's so true on so many levels. Again, only AllieRae.com.
Turning red.
Parrish and Rosie and a cast of thousands. Power Trip Morning Show will be right back on the Fan.
Power Trip on the Fan.
The Power Hour continues live at KFAN.com/watch. It's powered by Quantum Fiber.
Power Trip Morning Show. Yeah, you want to watch. You want to tune in right now. Mark Parrish is over there. Hi. Hey-o. That's me and Brett right there. I'm wearing my tribute to one of the greatest movies of all time.
Which is, hold on, it's the wrestling movie,
That's right. Come on, you got this. Come on.
What's it start with?
V.
What?
Vision Quest, man.
There you go. Vision Quest.
Yeah. He loves that movie.
Yeah.
Love that movie.
You could forget.
Yeah, right. Mark Rosen's there, and of course, again, Allie Rae.
Hello.
Only AllieRae.com. And again, thank you for making the trip. I can't believe you came all the way here just for this.
Oh
I'm
my
guessing
gosh,
you didn't,
this
right?
is KFAN. Like, this is a big deal for me. I actually told my husband, I am more nervous about this than I was on Dr. Phil. I'm not kidding. I was like, this is so exciting because I used to listen to KFAN all the time when I lived here, and I was like, that's just crazy.
Well, that's good because we have your fifth grade teacher here behind the door. We're going to talk about what you were like as a kid.
That's really cool. No, we appreciate you saying that. That's awesome. And you did just mention it, and we'll get to headlines and all that stuff as well. But Dr. Phil, so were you on Dr. Phil to talk about losing your job as a nurse and the whole situation, or was there another reason?
No, that's why he had me on. Yeah, it was crazy. I was nervous for that because, he has a reputation.
Yeah, that's what I thought
Not a good
too.
one.
Yeah,
Not a good one. And I thought, I am just the perfect medium for him to just really lay in on it, and how he can be quite condescending.
Oh my God.
But he was incredibly nice to me, very polite, polar opposite of what I would have expected. It was a very positive experience, and I was in shock. But he was not nice to the guest he had on before me.
Oh, no.
He did his typical, I'm better than you kind of talk, but he did not do that to me. And I don't know, but I carried myself well. I was very confident with what I was talking about, and I don't think I gave him any opportunity to do that. And I think that probably played into it a little bit.
So I know I've kind of dominated the conversation. So Mark or meet anybody. If you had a question, please feel free to jump in. Just let's get to know Allie a little bit better here as we continue through the rest of the show. But as you go ahead, Rose. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say we were just
bonding.
talking during the commercial about a lot of things, but I mean we talk about Dr.
Oh.
No,
Rosie.
No,
why is it that I
stand up
Allie?
for Rosie.
I'd rather see those two guys just go at it.
In here with him. No, Rosie's been wonderful.
Yeah, of course he has.
His eyes, I've been he still has not wandered. They have eye contact the whole time.
Well, he's got his own beautiful wife. At home.
He does.
I do have a beautiful
Yeah,
wife.
exactly.
Thank you. Yes, but
You forgot what you were going to say.
I cannot tell a lie. The eyes have wandered.
This is one of the great moments of my career. Right now.
Oh my! But getting married at 17, that had to be a major decision. at this point, I mean, thinking, well, I don't even know what I'm going to do the rest of my life. And here you had kids a couple of years later, and my goodness, it's worked out. But how scared was that? Were you? Was it just seemed like the right thing to do at the right time?
Yeah, I mean, when we actually got married, it was 18. We just met at 17. It was less than a year. I think, to be quite honest with you, both my husband and I come from fairly broken homes, not the greatest of background. And so I think when we met, having that chemistry of wanting to build our own family, wanting to do things right, I think that was a bond. And it was literally, and that was the conversation of like, I really want to build a family. And I was like, sweet. Okay, let's do this. But to make it
last. When you're still a kid.
Oh, absolutely. I look at my boys right now. I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah, and that's something.
No way.
I know.
When you back to the Dr. Phil bit, how much of that, not scripted, but how much of it is like producers being like, okay, here's the bit. He's going to ask you these questions. This is not your answer, but this is how you should answer. Like, how much of it is like a scripted TV show?
They did not script anything for me. He definitely had his questions prepared. The interview was like 49 minutes because I have the full tape, but they only aired about 11 of it.
Oh, really?
So we talked, the audience asked questions. Nothing was scripted in that sense from my part. They never even told me what he was going to ask me. I literally had no idea. Everything was off the rip. So
yeah.
For me, it was incredibly organic. And
I love your hair on that. They're showing it right now on KFAN.com/watch. He's showing your interview with Dr. Phil.
Yes, I had a stylist, and she walked in with this orange outfit, and I was like,
"That's her outfit. That wasn't your outfit."
No, that was Dr. Phil's. He has a whole studio.
He wore that?
Yeah, no. One thigh. No, they had a stylist in studio, and she came in. She's like, "This is what we were thinking for you to wear," and I had never wore orange, and I'm like, "This woman out of her damn mind." And I put it on, and I was like, "This is the dress." And it really, they knew what they were doing. I won't lie. They had tons of people doing my hair and makeup. It was bougie.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. Wow.
And the funny thing is, the ladies doing my style and my hair had said they had worked there 26 plus years or whenever the show, and they had never met Dr. Phil once.
Well, my niece, I'm not surprised. My niece worked for him, and she was told by a producer, do not make eye contact.
Are you kidding me? That's
him.
real?
That's absolutely
That's like
God's
your rule.
truth.
You had that rule at C-Smart, didn't you?
I did. Well, people could not look up. I'm some 6'6".
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yes. Just in case you're wondering,
you hear stories like that, and you go, come on.
But literally, she had, and I thought, how can you have worked here?
Met him?
Never met him. Like, he's never walked back through there. And she's like, no. She's like, I'm excited for you. I was like,
well,
it was bizarre.
That is odd.
And she's excited for you. How weird is that, right?
Yeah. You get to meet him.
Ladies and gentlemen,
hi.
Maxo has a question. Max?
Hey.
Hi,
Maxo.
Hi, Max.
Hey, what's up, Allie? Earlier you were talking about how like your finances kind of depend on how much you put into it monthly. And I know a lot of people from the outside looking in kind of just think, oh, well, you get naked and then you cash the check. But there's a lot more that goes into it. So like what kind of work actually goes into doing your OnlyFans page every month?
Well, I think what a lot of people don't understand is OnlyFans is not like an Instagram where you can go on there and just grow within the platform. You have to market it. So unless you're buying billboards like Chris Lindahl around the city, you are literally going to have to market yourself on social media. And that's a lot harder than it thinks. So, I mean, it depends how much content you put out for the safer work type stuff that actually funnels. Only 1% of what you have publicly traditionally will transfer over to an actual paid subscription. So that when I say that, I mean, how much are you, on TikTok or social media or doing stories or just all kinds of things on Twitter? A lot of that plays into it. And so I think what's been nice for me is that's very organic for me to do, especially in my Twitter community. I love my Twitter community. They ask for a shout out. I'm giving them one. I definitely am engaging. And so for me, that comes a little natural. But yeah, it's what you put into it. And of course, there's, you make special pieces of content that you put out and sell and things like that. But yeah, a lot of it is driving organic traffic to your site.
Real quick, you're a giant Golden Gopher football fan. And again, only AllieRae.com. Allie Rae's our guest. On the phone.
It's Tommy Olsen.
Tommy Olsen!
Hey, Allie, how's it going? Nice to meet you.
Hey, Tommy.
Is that all you had, Tommy?
I just want to say
Well, Allie, just wanted to say I'm a big Gopher fan. You're a big Gopher fan. We have some mutual connections there, and I just want to say I'm a big fan.
Oh, awesome.
Really nice to meet you.
And he's like a 5-year-old.
He's so excited. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, Tommy was, his whole family were Golden Gopher football players, and Tommy was a super stud for the Golden Gophers for quite some time. So he just wanted to call and say hi.
Oh, I love my Gopher.
Hey, Allie.
Yes.
No, careful.
I'll be back in tomorrow if you want to come back.
I can definitely be back tomorrow. I'm here till Friday. I'm going to Wild Game tomorrow, too. So.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Hey,
Well, so
no
is
joke,
Tommy.
I'll be there. I'm not kidding. I'm going to the Wild Game.
You will, Tommy. Tommy just got
Where are you
tickets.
sitting? Yeah.
I'll be in Cleveland.
Oh, Allie, you're the best. I can't wait. I'll see you at the Wild Game. It'll be awesome.
Awesome. So
There he goes.
excited.
Say hi to your wife.
She's
There he
mad.
goes.
Tommy?
There he goes. He's gone.
He's gone.
There you go.
He's
That's the best.
No, I love the Gophers. I huge just love Minnesota sports, and so I was tweeting our new recruit Koi Perch yesterday.
Yeah, saw that, yeah.
I was trying to save him. I'm just really, I just want to use my platform a little bit to try to help, do what I can do.
yeah,
I mean, we're losing a lot
At
of
least
great.
you could do.
Yeah.
we don't.
Gonna go to Ohio
I don't know
State.
how it's going to work, but yeah.
We don't have money for the NIL, so you're going to have to help us somehow, okay?
Look, there's a partnership there that could be. I love Dinkytown. Love what they're doing for NIL. I just I don't know how that looks, but I definitely want to be a part of that because I love my Gophers.
How cool would that be? Just an Allie Rae patch on the
Right.
Gophers
Yeah, right.
jerseys.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Tommy might
Help
have a
with the
year of
recruiting.
eligibility left.
Get us to the championship, guys.
I've never heard him that excited.
Yes, you have. KFAN.com/watch again. And going to the Wild Game tomorrow night. Heads up to the good people at the Wild. I know somebody that might want to say, let's play hockey down there as well. Hey,
Zach could be devastated.
Speaking of Golden Gophers, we need to address this because I brought it up, but we haven't talked about it yet. And it's kind of an interesting story. But you made news, at least locally and even nationally, because your favorite squad blocked you on Twitter, but that got fixed pretty quickly, right? Tell us that story.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
So I came to Gopher home opener to the Nebraska game. One of my best friends is a huge Husker fan. It was awesome. Came to visit her, and we went to there, and it got some attention that I was going to be there. There was already press out that I was going to be going to the game. And so there was a lot of attention on me there. And I was, stopping by with the Gopher Hole and hanging out with those guys. And whenever I got back home, I went to tweet a picture with, someone from Gopher Hole or what have you. And I was not able to tag Gopher football. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's weird. And then I realized I was blocked. And then I guess everyone else started to notice I was blocked, and it became this huge ordeal. And I don't know ultimately what happened. I do know that the UK Daily Star had actually had a phone conversation with the PR department at some point over there to ask them, why did you block Allie Rae? And that's what they wanted was an answer. And this is all happening. I wasn't aware of it. And they just said it was inadvertently an accident. The person didn't know. I don't know the story. I think they got a lot of backlash for it. But somebody, you have to physically block someone.
Yeah,
like
right.
you
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
Are you unblocked now? or-
I am unblocked.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And I think
Yeah.
they're like, holy cow, do not block Allie Rae again.
No.
Because they got a lot of heat from that. And I kept, I was like, look, don't hate on Minnesota. It is what it is. But yeah, it was big.
That's incredible. The UK paper did that. I know that you're a major factor, and in fact, you credit the Chive with helping
I love the
you.
Is the Chive still a thing?
Oh, they're a fan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Man.
Oh, yeah.
I might have to check them out every morning when I come in. It's
The
one of my first things I do.
community is amazing.
But Allie, we haven't talked about this. We've talked about numbers in regards to how much money and such like that. But how many followers do you have on the various platforms?
There's a lot. A lot of people don't realize in this industry, it's not uncommon for us to have 10 to 15 TikToks, 10 Instagram. So, I've got Instagram, TikToks everywhere. These are all numbers you just have to add up. But my primary, I use my, my Instagram. I think I have 290,000 or something, a little over 200 on Twitter. So, there's a lot. My TikTok's good. I've lost a lot of accounts. You lose accounts in this industry. I've lost accounts with 200,000+ followers. It's just part of the gig. Unfortunately, you get banned. And so, yeah, quite a few. I know on the Chive, I had 17.9 million searches.
Oh my!
In like a 3-month span. So
Tommy's back.
I was the most searched Chive. I love that, and because I love the Chive, they're a great community. And, yeah,
and that's you're a very nice person.
Aww.
You know what I mean? Like I've been talking to you before you come in and talking to you on the air, and obviously the conversation we're having off the air. And I would think it would be hard if I knew that 17.9 million dudes and ladies were checking me out and thought I was hot as fire, I would think it would affect my ego a little bit. So that's really something that you seem just like a normal person.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, no, I definitely feel I'm lucky for that I've maintained that humble and wholesomeness, but I've never been flashy like that. Even when we came into money, I don't got designer stuff. It's not my thing. I'm still a TJ Maxx shopper. All my ladies will love that because, I waste a day in TJ Maxx, but yeah, I think, we're smart with our business and our money, and we're doing a lot of real estate investing and trying to be smart with our money and set ourselves up because this isn't forever. Obviously I'm going to get older, and, it's something that we're preparing for.
What's the best advice you have for somebody who's maybe, 15 years younger than you are that might get into this?
I think one thing I caution people is, you read stories like mine and you get really excited and think it's so easy to do that. It's not. But the other thing I would caution would be, you have to remember I'm married. I'm not out in the dating market. I don't need to ever worry about that. I have a husband. He loves me. We're doing this together. People that get into this, say they're 19, 20, 21. It's like you got to get married later in life. You don't know how the new person's going to feel about this. Are you going to hide it? It's going to be out there forever. And a lot of people always come to me about that. And it's like, look, I'm not on the market. I'm a married woman. So it doesn't affect me. And I think, too, in relationships, it takes so much trust and bond that most people don't have to do something like this. And so I always caution people about that. And this is not a decision that should just be made spur of the moment. It took a lot of thought, for us to kind of segue into this completely.
Where did the thought come from? Was it from him, from you? Was it mutual completely, or where? Who brought it up first? I guess.
Well, I used to do. I love craft beer. Huge craft beer. Surly's my favorite brewery, and I used to do craft beer reviews on Instagram. I had 2,000 followers, and I would just plop the phone up and be like, "Here's the beer we're trying today," and blah blah blah. And of course, there was a lot of a male audience in that, and they used to write all the time, "You need to start an OnlyFans." And this is back in 2018, 19, maybe getting into 20.
Not that long ago.
And I ignored it because I didn't even know what it was. Well, then there were stories about somebody making $1 million or something in 6 hours on OnlyFans. And I remember my husband, I looked at his and he was like, "We should probably look into that." He's like, we have a lot of people.
Day job is okay, but I'd rather.
Yeah, he was like, we should, what is that site everyone's always talking? I'm like, it is. So we looked into it. I had a lot of problems starting the page, getting verified. Believe it or not, they were like, "Are you 18?" It was just really a big pain. And I remember going, "I'm going to upload this one more time. And if it doesn't go through, I'm never doing this again." And thankfully it did, because if it wouldn't, I would have never attempted to create a page. And then I posted it on, my Instagram and then the Chive, and it blew up. But yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of competition out there. So, not everyone's making the money you're making. Not everyone. So is it because you guys are done this from a business standpoint as well, that you've been so sharp about it, as opposed to maybe someone on their own who really didn't know the business side of this?
Yeah, I think one thing we've stayed tried and true from the beginning, and I do credit a lot of the success to, is I never wanted, and this is no shame to anyone who runs their business different than I do, is I never wanted to be the forefront to be, I am a sex worker or whatever people want to refer to it as, porn star, whatever it may be. I always was like, I am a personality who happens to have an OnlyFans. So for me, I poured most of my time and attention into the safer work sides of my brand, my craft beer, sports, things of that, things that actually are of me. Mm-hmm. Oh, and she happens to have an OnlyFans. So for me, that was a business choice. And to this day, I still do. My Twitter is very safe for work. I could literally post whatever I want on Twitter. But I choose not to.
You get blocked by the Gophers, but still, you can.
Right. I didn't even post anything. But there was some pasties once, but that's about as worse as it's
Prove it.
I had bought some Minnesota. There were some M's, and that was because we made it to the Frozen Four, and I had already promised the community I would post the pasty picture with the M's, and so
Rosie did the same thing.
Yeah. No, that was a pastry picture.
Oh yeah,
pastry, not pasty.
Yeah,
now, because you went there, let's go ahead and go there, and obviously this is a sticky situation because some of these things, all right, everybody be cool. Some of these things are disturbing, but I've heard some stories about some things people ask you to do on OnlyFans. Your thumbs?
Oh, I love those guys.
Yeah, go ahead. That's fine. Yeah,
those are the bendy thumb guys. So I have very unique thumbs. I don't know if the camera can see.
Oh, my God.
Look, like a straight 90. Oh, my gosh. Mark's got them, too.
Oh, look at your
I can do the same thing. Double jointed.
Oh, my God. It's not as good, though. You're not getting a full 90.
Much better.
No, You can make money. What the heck?
Oh, here we go.
Mark started OnlyFans.
Might need to be on Maury next. You and Mark got the same thumb.
Go.
That's crazy.
Are you kidding me? Even my thumb is disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go with what you're working with. And then, you got it, though. You have
This one used to, but it got broke.
You can work it, though. You can stretch it. It'll get better.
All right.
Be careful how I say this. Do your other fingers do that too?
Whoa.
Well, I'm pretty, Oh, look, I can do that, too. We are so creepy.
My thumb usually does it, but it's just cold right now.
Rosie, I know you were trying not
Daddy's
to be creepy
enjoying
when
this.
you asked that question, but you failed miserably. Okay, then the next one I have to ask you about, and this is where it gets weird. Tell me about the balloons.
Oh, the Lunars. That was one of my first people. I had to Google that. The Lunars.
That's what it's called?
The Lunars.
They're Lunars. That's their fetish. Like, they're called Lunars, and they really like you blowing up balloons. And I thought, is it because of the sexual part of the blowing of the balloon? No, it's actually the anticipation of it potentially popping. And so they really like to just...
Happy birthday to you.
So I ordered...
That's bizarre.
I entertained the Lunar. I get a lot of requests that I'm like, no, I'm sorry, that's not for me. But that was fun. I had a beer one night, and I just popped the camera. I was like, just blowing up balloons. You know, and that's honestly like good money. These people, because a lot of these fetishes too, they know it's weird and they don't want to ask people.
Right, for sure.
And I hate to even use the word weird. That's disrespectful, but it's different. It's not the norm.
No, it's weird.
So, yeah.
By the way, that's Rosie pretending he's not part of the community. That's odd, man.
Hey.
Weirdos.
Do you do birthday parties?
Do you do power trip parties, I guess is the next question.
Just blowing a balloon.
No, I obviously misheard because I thought this is really, I don't know how I asked this question, because I thought you did something else with the balloons.
No.
So it's blowing up the balloons. That's what a lunar is.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's variations of lunars.
Got it.
All levels.
Do you mind, are there any other outside the box things that you've been asked to do or that you do for people?
I had one dude who was very into the sneezing, and this falls very much like the lunars because it's the anticipation of the sneeze. And so just consistent sneeze. I know it's a lot, but it's there. And those I don't mind entertaining every now and then.
Of course. I mean, right.
Yeah.
They're kind of fun,
Rosie just pushed some pepper over it.
Just a sneezing. No, there's actually, it's some kind of little powder. It's like a medicine that you normally use, like a menthol or what have you. It's on Amazon. It's like some powder, chinchilla powder, and it makes you sneeze and sneeze and sneeze. And so, yeah. I don't do a lot of these anymore. I don't have the time for them. But in the beginning, I mean, you could easily someone say, $1,000 for 5 minutes of you sneezing. Yeah, I'll definitely do that.
I'll do anything for $1,000 an hour. Hold on.
What?
I got to see what this is. Hold on. Zacho just loaded something in.
Do your other fingers do that too?
You made the button bar again.
Of course I did.
Oh, I love it.
Somebody's asking about something called shame fetishing. Does anybody ask you to do stuff like that?
Yeah, lots of that. That's very common, like humiliation. And some of that, in the beginning, like I said, I entertained more things in the beginning, but as with my growth, I don't ever know where videos are going to end up in what context. This, Rosie, and a lot of taken out of context. And
No, not at all. Not on this show.
I just worry, but I was told I was very good at that. I was very good at that.
You know who'd be great at it? Just Corey Cove. You haven't met him today.
I know.
He's good at shaming us.
Every day.
Shames me every day.
Is there anything that was like 100% you would never even consider doing, like any request that you're like, no, never, not even crossing my mind?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot. Like, I don't say other guys' names on cam. It's just never going to happen.
Yeah, right.
I don't hide the fact that I'm married. He's like, damn. No, I don't say other guys' names. There's things like that. I think everybody has their limits, but yeah, there's a lot. I'm not into the mommy stuff because I am a mom, so it's weird and it's like, not my thing.
Don't play it. Do not play it.
No, he's coming with it.
I got to find
state
it.
fair.
You have a mommy? You have a mommy? You have a mommy?
Yeah. Ask him for a friend. Are you into the stepmommy thing?
Any dryers that you've been stuck in?
Hey, it's Mark Rosen.
One more I have to ask you about because you did mention this as well. And I don't even know, like, when they ask you to do it, because people like feet.
Yeah.
So what do you do when somebody, like, do you just hold your feet up to the camera or do they want you to stand on things? What do you do for that?
They're so simple. The feet thing bothers me because I don't look at my feet. Like, I've never looked at them as like cute. Like, I could take a picture and I'm like, okay, I look good there. But like, it's hard to photograph feet because I'm like, I don't see the cuteness. So, but they're actually fairly simple. They just want to see the arch. They just want to see. But I'm always mad at myself because I wish I've been able to perfect this more. I'm like, this is so simple and it's such a common request. But unfortunately, I don't do a lot of it because I just can't get into it. Like, I take a pic and I'm like, I don't know, is this good? Like, I don't know. Like, you like it? Like, it's just, I don't find it very cute. So it's hard for me. But
Rex Ryan liked it.
I love the feet, guys.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, and if you have ever any questions about whether something's hot or not, you can send it our way.
Right, absolutely. This is KFAN approved.
Yeah, right.
I can't believe the thumb thing is a thing and Parrish has it.
He just commented on one of our posts with Power Trip yesterday. He's like, I hope you show your thumbs on there. I was like, okay, well, here you go.
My God, we just made some guy's day.
No wonder PA took today off.
You know, it's a sad story with that guy and why I actually gave him free thumb pics because he said that it reminded him his wife had passed and she used to have those thumbs and he had never seen thumbs like that outside of her. So it reminded him and I was like, oh my God. Here you go. I was like, I'll send you all the thumb pics you want. Yeah. It was a sweet story.
You're going to be amazed by the amount of requests you get from widowers. Man, I completely lost my train.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. I haven't asked you about Wetspace real quick, and go ahead and tell us a little bit about that if you don't mind.
So Wetspace is a social media platform. We are for adult content. I started Wetspace when I was at the height of my OnlyFans. Like everything was just popping in 2021, and OnlyFans had made an announcement. I don't know if y'all remember that, where they were going to ban porn from the website.
Yeah.
And so a lot of creators were like, excuse me, we're making all this money and now they're going to ban it. So it was more of a panic too of like, I don't like this in their control. Like I want to have control if something like that ever does happen. And so I created Wetspace and also accepted cryptocurrency, different forms of crypto, and got really, really involved in that. And so we are the only platform out there offering not only, and it's for anonymity too. A lot of people, they have CPAs that monitor their accounts and things. And so they didn't want things on their bank statement. So it does also provide a medium for anonymity, which we respect, for people to pay with cryptocurrency. And we don't have like a coin or anything. We're not trying to like do some kind of scam. We accept multiple cryptos. And so that's when we started Wetspace.
Okay, that's cool. And last thing for me on this, Allie Rae, again, onlyallieray.com. You're 39 years old. You're absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
How tough is it? And is it a part of the job maybe that eventually you think you might get sick of, to stay in such great shape all the time?
That's hard. Yeah. I mean, luckily, I think in this age of time now, like, I think men have always been very forgiving of women's bodies, like not being perfection. But I think for women, it's a lot more, there's a stigma of how you need to look if you're on Instagram and that kind of thing, especially at 39. But I think, it's something that I don't ever want to be like strive that I have perfection. I mean, I am a 39-year-old woman. Like, I think I'm comfortable with that. But yeah, I mean, I definitely have a workout regimen. I'm not great about it all the time. And I'm a beer drinker. And that's a problem. It's a big problem. I love some good craft beer. And so, that makes it difficult, sometimes. And so I have to kind of dial back. But
like an athlete, do you have a timetable in mind how long you want to keep doing this? Or do you think it's just something you can go on for another 10, 15 years? Or?
I mean, there's women well into their 60s doing it. Is that my long-term goal? No. But I think my content in itself could be archivable to where it is just continues to sell on its own on, behind a paywall where I'm not actively maybe managing completely anymore or that kind of thing. Maybe that's why, I said we're getting into real estate a lot. We're trying to do a lot of smart things with our money and investing. And then, of course, Wetspace. And so for us, I mean, is it a 5-year plan? Is it a 10-year plan? I don't know. I don't think as long as it's maintaining profitability, there's no way I would just close it down.
Right.
If for some reason I lost my community or they weren't interested anymore, then I guess that's a conversation. But
is there anything that you haven't done yet that you really want to do still with your career?
I've been told many times to start a podcast and I'm not opposed to that by any means. It's just a lot of the podcasts for this industry, in my opinion, are really annoying. They're just like very clicky in terms of, let's talk about, anal and all the things. And I don't know if you've seen any of them, but a lot of these like adult podcasts are just the same thing. And so I would really want to talk about not on the industry, definitely, but more just entertainment and various things. And I think, so I've kind of struggled with what kind of podcast I would want.
Get back to the pie.
Mark!
Size does matter.
You couldn't wait 8 minutes, Rosie.
Oh, baby. You're not apologizing.
I honestly didn't realize
It's
it
hotter
was a
than Uranus.
soundbite.
I'm a ventriloquist. Stop it.
I thought he said that right now. I was like, damn, Rosie.
You'll be salivating when you see it.
That's the best. Allie, you know what? After watching you on a few podcasts, I knew today was going to be fun.
Yeah.
You fit right in. We appreciate it. We respect what you do. And obviously, everything we were hoping for, you are. So if you'd like to be a part of the Power Trip Morning Show anytime, please feel free. And I know you're going to the Wild game tomorrow night. I'm sure everybody will be coming up and saying hi. But great job.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. This is a huge, this is the bucket list.
Let's do this again over and over and over again.
Oh, absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you. That's Allie, onlyallieray.com. Rosie, we love you. You were very well behaved.
Nice job. I give him an A. I think we could stop with I think Rosie's good. I think he was very well behaved.
Yeah, we're all surprised.
I don't know what he'll
I'm
say.
always well behaved.
Absolutely.
We'll see what he says tomorrow, on the show when I leave. We'll see.
Yeah,
He's got a shot collar on today.
Who's got the
That's
button?
his thing.
Yeah. And Parrish, we'll see you on Friday.
Actually, I am flying out of the NHL Network Friday morning. So, so you guys are going to need another initial competitor to take my place.
Well, thank you.
And I'll see you guys. Cool. I'll see you guys Wednesday.
Well, Allie, you might want to play initials. We'll talk more about that. But
there you go.
Again, great to talk to you. Thank you, everybody. Great job today. And Zach, nice job back there, man.
Zach, you're good at this.
Yeah, thank you. We'll talk to you all soon.